Hey guys, it's Kat and I'm back today with my Project Apocalips check-in for the month of July. So if you're new here, this is just a way that I'm going through my extensive lip collection and I'm trying to declutter it. So I'm trying to use the products most days and then decide at the end of the month which products I want to keep and which products I want to get rid of. And I have done sort of themed months. This month was actually Mecca brands, and if you're not in Australia or New Zealand, that would make no sense to you. Our biggest makeup store in Australia is actually called Mecca. So it's essentially the competitor of Sephora, and they have a lot of brands that are exclusive to their store. So for example, if in the US you can buy Urban Decay at Sephora, you can't actually get it in a Sephora in Australia. It's exclusive to Mecca. So last month I focused on lip products that you can buy in Sephora Australia, and this month I'm focusing on brands that you can find in Mecca. Now there are a few brands that will be missing from this. One main one will be Hourglass. I do have quite an extensive range of Confession Ultra Slim lipsticks from Hourglass. I decided not to include that in this month and instead to include it in Luxury Part 2, which will be coming up in the next month or so, mainly because I have 42, I think, lip products to get through in this month alone. And if I added the Hourglass, it would end up being like 60, which is way too much. So some of the brands that I'll be talking about this month, there's Too Faced, that's the predominant one, Mario Badescu, Stila, Smashbox, BareMinerals, Jouer, Aucoin, Lipstick Queen. So normally what I do is I talk about the lip products that I have the most of to begin with. Now I'm not going to do that in this video. I'm actually going to talk about them last, simply because, look, as you can start to see, I do have a couple of Too Faced Melted Matte Liquid Lipsticks here. I actually have 3 of them at the front, but I also have this many of them. So I've got quite a lot of them and I'm still not 100% sure which shades I'm going to keep and which ones I'm going to get rid of. Again, if you've been watching my channel for a long time, the Too Faced Melted Matte Liquid Lipsticks are some of my all-time favorite matte liquid lipstick formula because on me personally, it doesn't feel too drying, it lasts a long time and it stays pretty comfortable. So I really like this formula, which is why I've got so many shades. Some of these were in Christmas packs, some of them I just bought, some of them I bought on sales, whatever. So I've got a lot of them. So I would happily keep all of them because I really like the formula, but I know I'm not going to use them all. So I'm going to sort of go through the photos as I talk through this video, and I'm going to decide on the spot which ones I'm going to keep and which ones I'm going to get rid of. All right, so I thought I'd start with some of the things that are a little bit easier to decide yay or nay. So I'm going to start with Ciate. I've got 2 liquid lipsticks, one mini and one full size. So these are the liquid velvets. Now, I don't know if these are starting to go bad, but this one, the gray one, which is the shade Bittersweet, looked nice on the lips. Like it's quite a greige nude, but I like it. Sometimes I like a greige, and this is not like overly gray, overly sort of corpse looking. This is a fairly nice greige nude. The longevity of this was just not good. It wasn't very opaque, so it did look quite sheer on the lips, but it did settle down to more of a matte look. And essentially if I had a drink or ate something, this pretty much completely disappeared. So there's no way I'm keeping this. It's just not good enough in my opinion. And again, I don't know if this has just gone bad or if it's always been shit. I don't really remember. And then I also have a mini in the shade Pin-Up. Now I've had this for way too long, so I'm going to get rid of it. The formula was better than the greige. This is like a rosy, I don't know, muted rosy mid-toned lip. I do have quite a few of these shades, especially in the Anastasia Beverly Hills formula that I talked about last month. So I know I've got dupes for this, and this was definitely more opaque and longer wearing than the grey one, but it just didn't like impress me all that much. All right, then I'm going to talk about these 2 products from Lipstick Queen. So these are long sort of slim bullet lipsticks, and they're very, very shiny. So they're probably in this non-retractable packaging because they're so soft and so buttery that if you twisted it up too much, you'll just squish. So they are a little bit more delicate, but they're really, really gorgeous. So these are the rear view mirror lip lacquers. I have the shade Fast Car Coral, and I also have the shade Joyride Java. Now I like these, but I like one a lot more than the other. So let's start with Joyride Java. This is a medium rosy brown shade. So it's very high shine, very pigmented. It does look quite nice. It's buttery, even to apply. But for my daily glossy nude shade, I feel like this is a little bit too dark, and if I'm going for this shade, I sort of like it in a more matte budge-proof formula. Like, it's just my preference. So I could pan this, but I sort of, yeah, I don't really want to. I should have gone for a shade lighter, but you know, my judgment is often really bad with how dark things end up looking on my lips. The coral one, I loved this. So this is definitely not a coral shade. It's a straight up red. So what I said about this was I loved the small bullet. It was a really easy way to get a nice precise application, especially with this formula that's very, very glossy and very pigmented. It's very easy to go out of the lines, get a bit smeary if the bullet was too big. So this is like the perfect applicator for this formula. This gives a gorgeous high shine pigmented lip that surprisingly doesn't smear or smudge or migrate throughout the day, which I love. This reminds me a little bit of the Mani liquid lipstick, the shiny red one. So even though it's shiny and it can transfer, it doesn't really smear, it doesn't really move, and it stays looking good all day. Because this is really, really pigmented, but it's not super opaque, so it doesn't have a white base to it where it blanks out the lid. It just sort of covers with this really pigmented, glossy red effect. The good thing about that is it means that it fades down to look more like a cherry glossy lip or a cherry glossy stain, which is really, really pretty. And it doesn't fade down patchy. Patchiness drives me crazy. This fades down in a really, really flattering way. So I would definitely reach for this time and time again. Also, and I didn't take a photo of this, this wears so well and does stain the lips a little bit that after I took this off at night, and there will be photos on the screen of like how long I wore this for and the check-ins, I had a shower and removed my makeup, double cleansed and everything, and there was still a little bit of red tint left. So it doesn't stain a lot, but it's enough to just keep the color looking even as you wear it, which I really, really like. So definitely keeping this. All right, I've got two lipsticks from BareMinerals. I actually had a lot of different types of BareMinerals, like liquid lipsticks and like lip glosses. I don't know where they are, if I threw them out. I don't know what happened, but in my head I had a lot more, and maybe I put them somewhere and I can't remember. So maybe I'll have to double back at some point. Maybe towards the end of this project, I'll have to do a month of like products that slipped through the cracks. So I'm sure I've got more BareMinerals, but these are the only ones I found when I was divvying up my collection. So whether I decluttered the other ones, I don't remember. So these are the BareMineral BarePro lipsticks, and these are matte bullet lipsticks. Now I got this in a Christmas pack where essentially you got two for the price of one, and I knew I really liked the shade Petal because I had a mini of it and I used it up. So that's a good sign that I like it. So I thought I'd repurchase Petal in the full size and also get Boysenberry as like a free gift essentially. Now Petal is a shade that I like a lot better than Boysenberry. This is a lot more of a pinky nude. It does have a slight mauvey sort of tone to it. I find that nudie pinks that have a slight mauve tone I can get away with and I quite like. But if a pink nude is too straight up pink without the mauve tone, I don't really like it. But this is just on the verge of something that I'm happy to wear, and I like this. I can understand people not liking these because the formula isn't for everyone. I feel like you have to like a matte finish and not have at all dry lips. So I said that this is a drier, moussier texture lipstick. So it doesn't glide on, it doesn't feel creamy. It is more of a matte mousse effect. So it does look very matte. It does dry down quite drier than your average bullet lipstick. But I do think the effect of it looks really good. These do fade off quite nicely as well. And even though I do like Petal more and something I'd reach for more, Boysenberry was a nice berry tone. And I think, again, I've had this weird perception that If you wanted to go a deeper lip, you have to go really deep. And I think throughout doing this project, I realized really, really dark shades just clash on me because I'm quite fair. And my skin tone sort of makes the colors look even darker than they are. So even though this doesn't look particularly dark, this is pretty much the darkest I think I would like to go on a daily basis without feeling like I'm looking too vampy. So I'm going to keep both of these because I do like them. But yeah, they're not a formula for everyone. So if you have slightly dry lips or you don't like something feeling too dry on the lips, this is probably not for you. But if you like a budge-proof, matte-looking bullet lipstick and you don't have issues with dry patches or dry lips, these do last really well and they look really pretty. All right, Smashbox. This is one that I didn't even get to take a photo of because it's dried out. I don't think I've had this for very long, which is a shame. And the color is really, really pretty. Again, I can't show it to you on the lips because I couldn't wear it, but I will try to scrape it on my hand and it's a really pretty color. I'm sure I can dupe it, but this was like, this is dry. This is dried out. This is gross. It's sort of like a dry concealer effect, which I'm not for. So that is obviously going. Speaking of drying out, and this is a real shame, and I'm quite upset about this actually. Jouer, I've got 5 lip products here. 2 of them are lip toppers. And now, to be fair, I think we were sent these in PR because it's not something I would naturally buy, but I'll talk about those in a second. What I want to talk about is the matte. These are the lip creams. I've got 3 shades. I've got Caberne, which is a really beautiful wine toned red. And I'll talk about this in a second. I can even see that this is dried out because maybe I'll zoom in and show you, but it's pulling away from the sides and it's like cracking because it's dry inside. I'm not sure if you can see that, but you can see that it's drying out inside and sort of causing little air pockets. Okay, so my notes for this shade is I love this shade. It is actually like the perfect dark red in my opinion. It's dark but has the vibrancy and intensity that I want in a red. One thing I don't like about some dark wine toned reds is when they go too heavy on the deep tone, but they don't amp up the red or the color. It's almost like they desaturate it by adding the black into it. Whereas this is dark but vibrant and really, really beautiful. Historically, when I first tried this did feel drier on the lips than the nude shades I'm about to talk about. So off the get-go, I didn't like this formula. I just liked the shade and it's something that I'd probably want to keep around to dupe, but I'm going to get rid of it. It is what it is. But this is also starting to dry out. So all of these matte lipsticks in this range, I haven't had for that long and they're all drying out. So the 2 nudes that I have, I've got Tawny Rose and I've got Terra, and they are both beautiful shades. One is a little bit more of a neutral nude and one is a little bit more of a mauvey, purpley tone nude. I loved both of these. I would totally keep these if they weren't drying out. Now I could theoretically keep at least Terra. Terra is the one that's the least dry out of the 3. I could see myself panning this and using it over the next few months and really getting used for it before it completely dries out. But the problem is that I'm still doing this project, so I can't really focus on that. And I'm sure this is a very dupeable shade. However, I did do wear tests on both of these. This one still wears really nicely. It's just a little bit thicker than what it used to be. But one thing I love about this formula, it's a matte liquid lipstick, but it has a little bit of tackiness to it, a little bit of moisture, so it doesn't feel super drying, and it also lasts really well and fades down really nicely throughout the day. So I would, if I wasn't doing this project, I would keep this and try to use it up, but because I won't be able to target this to use it up until 6 months time, I think by then this will be dried out. So Terra is going, and so is Tawny Rose. Tawny Rose is actually newer than Terra in my collection, and these have only been in my collection for maybe 18 months. So in the scheme of things, some of my melted matte liquid lipsticks I've had for way, way, way longer, and these I've got no problems with them. So it might be a formula issue, it might be a packaging issue, but I wouldn't repurchase these ever again knowing how short the lifespan of them are. Also, I feel like these are very dupeable with shades that I have in my melted matte range. So for example, Sellout is very, very similar to Terra. They're pretty much identical shades. And also I've got Queen Bee, which is very, very similar to Tawny Rose. And again, I've had Queen Bee for an embarrassing amount of time and it's still gorgeous. So even though I loved these formulas and I could still use them, the fact that they're dry is really frustrating. Now, strangely enough, these lip toppers are things that I never thought I would keep, but they're actually kind of pretty. And so I've got two shades. I've got Skinny Dip, which is this beautiful cool tone champagne, which I love. It's like a champagne gold and it's very versatile because it can be applied over cool tone lipsticks or warmer tone lipsticks. And this is not as sparkly and shiny as you sort of expect from the packaging. So it looks like this. It just gives a really wet look effect. And you could use this on its own just as a really shiny lip gloss. It also smells nice. It's got this like caramel, almost caramel candle scent to it. Yeah, it doesn't smell like actual baked goods. It just smells like a sweet candle. So I like that. I think it's really pretty and I'm sure it'll look really pretty over lip products. I don't really layer lip glosses over liquid lipsticks too often, but I could do it over a glossy lip. I could play with this and I don't have anything else like this in my collection. So I thought I'm going to keep that, which is strange. I never thought I would keep these over the matte ones. But you know, that's life for you. It's very strange. This is Beach Daze, which I don't think you're going to be able to see. I might have to take a video with my phone, but it's like a duochrome pink to gold. So when I'm turning the packaging and it's catching the light, I can see gold, but front on it looks pink. Now this does look like a pink shimmer on the lips, and this is more intense. You can see straight off the bat it's there. It's way more intense than the other one I talked about, but again, you can sort of sheer it out to make a nice duochrome. It's so pretty. I don't know if you're going to see the, do I have a mirror? No, I don't. I'll just have to insert a swatch that I've taken with my phone because you can see duochrome a bit better. But this is pretty intense. I did actually apply this over the red just to show you the effect that it gives. And it makes it look quite metallic, which I don't love. But at the same time, this would be fun to play around with. I'd like to see how this applies over just a nude or whatever. And on its own, it's not bad. I'll show you something that is really horrible on its own and looks frosty and horrible. This, I think, because the color is quite versatile, this could also be a really nice sort of glossy highlighter on days where it's not too hot and sticky. So again, not something I'm going to use too often, but I think it's a bit fun and it can transform lip products. So I want to play around with those more when I have more time. I actually forgot I've got another Jouer lip product, and this is probably my most favorite one after doing this. If you asked me 12 months ago, I would say these are my favorite, but knowing how dry they get, they have dropped in the ranks. This is the Essential Lip Enhancer Shine Balm in the shade Amaryllis. It's a really, really beautiful nude toned lip balm. And this is just something I can wear on a daily basis, minimal makeup, or if I'm going like a bold eye and I want something more sort of subtle on the lips. I really like this. It's really pretty. So what my notes are about this, I said that it's really smooth and glides on the lips. It's a really pretty toffee toned nude. I said that I don't like the scent of this and the taste. It smells like rose and has like a perfume taste to it. So I really think they could improve on just removing that. It almost gives it like a really dated nana, like grandma makeup sort of vibe with the real floral perfume. Yeah, it's not my cup of tea, but I do like the look and the feel of this on the lips. And I do find that it is quite light, but still nourishing. And it's a really nice way to add a little bit of color and shine. So this is sort of one of those things that I would call a handbag lip product, that if you're just, out and about and you want to chuck something on without needing a mirror or without, needing too much precision or whatever, this is one of those products that I would definitely keep in my handbag. And because the color is quite similar to my lip tone, it fades down to like nothing. So it's very easy to use and I'm keeping that. The lip product that I was talking about that is frosty and hideous is by Too Faced. So I'll talk about these two Too Faced products and then I'll come back to the liquid lipsticks in a minute. So this is, I think this was a limited edition product, and thank God, because it is horrible. I actually got this in a PR bag from Mecca land, so it's not something I would have ever purchased. This is the Magic Crystal Lip Topper in Angel Tears. And everything that these toppers are, this is not. This is hideous. So it's a bullet and it looks cool. The color, it almost has like a, it's almost like a mix between these two. It's like a champagne-y base, but then it has like a pink gold sort of slight shift to it. I feel like a bullet lip product is sort of not the best as a topper just in general, because you have to really sort of work it into the lip product and it doesn't really sit on top. Whereas if you have a doe foot applicator, you can sort of tap it on or take the product off on your finger and sort of tap it on. Whereas this, you sort of have to smear it on, and just in that motion, it's not going to be a great topper product, but this looks horrible on the lips. This is one of the most grossest lip products I've tried in this project. I have no idea why I kept it. I think maybe when I swatched on my hand, I'm like, oh, that's pretty. It's like a nice subtle shine, but on the lips, it is frosty, it is gross. I did try to tap this down and sort of blend it in to make it a little bit more subtle to see if I could use it as like a daily lip balm. I could not. It was gross. This is definitely going. That should never have been approved. It is hideous. Another thing that I'm getting rid of is the Intense Color Coconut Butter Lipstick in Skinny Dippin. I think this has gone off. For one, it just doesn't feel the same. It sort of has a funny scent to it. I think it used to have a scent and now it just smells like raw ingredients, and it sort of sits on the lips a little bit heavy and doesn't look very flattering. So I don't mind this sort of sandy toned nude. This sort of, yeah, on the lips it looks a little bit more yellow toned and it can look a bit funny depending on the makeup you use. But this formula just sort of, it doesn't feel right anymore, so it's going. Then luckily I did discover a few standout products that are really, really nice. So firstly, my Mario Badescu lip balm. This is really, really good. So what I said about this was that I don't love the scent of this. It has like a coconut almond scent. I've got an aversion to coconut scented things because it just makes me feel unwell. So originally I was like, I'm getting rid of this. I don't like the scent. I don't like it. But the scent does sort of dissipate as you use it. And the texture of this is beautiful. For something that's 12 Australian dollars, so that would be like maybe $8 US, maybe cheaper, I'm not too sure. This feels so luxurious and high end. If you said to me that this is something like, it's from like Tatcha or Chantecaille or something like that, and it's got a price tag of like $50, I wouldn't be surprised because the formula of this is beautiful. So it's a very buttery luxe feeling lip balm. It feels like a mix between a lip balm and a lip treatment. And I love this. I think this is really nice. It does last fairly well as an overnight lip treatment as well. And it's not too sticky and too heavy. So you can use it, of course, during the day. You can use it at night. I think I used this one night and I woke up at like 4 a.m. and I could still feel my lips were quite plump. So it doesn't wear all night, but it wears a good portion of the night. So this is something that if you can get through the scent, I would recommend this to everyone because it's a really, really, really good quality lip balm for the price. I love this. I'm definitely keeping it. The lip glosses that I think are fantastic are by Aucoin. These are the Glass Glow lip glosses. And this was actually in a holiday pack. So it was a pack of 4. Haley and I split them. I've got Prism Rose and Gold Beam. And Prism Rose is one that you can get in the permanent full size. Gold Beam was limited edition. So, you know, there we go. So what I said in my notes was that these are some of the most luxe lip glosses I've tried. So similar to this being a really good, nice feeling luxe lip balm, these are really awesome feeling luxe lip glosses. They do have a higher price tag, but I feel like they're a lot better than something like Pat McGrath lip glosses. These are way better and they're cheaper. So less color options, but really, really nice. This is thick but not sticky. It feels very, very nourishing and it feels just luxurious on the lips. It also looks really pretty. It gives a high shine effect and it just looks like you've got plump, beautiful lips without any plumping ingredients. This gold beam one is essentially a clear gloss with very small flakes of like gold in it. So you can barely see the flakes, it just adds to the shine. So this is effectively just a really nice clear lip gloss, and I'm gonna keep it. And Prism Rose does have more of a shine to it because it's a rosy shade with almost like a pearlescent sort of effect to it. So this gives more of a color to the lips, but again, it gives a beautiful high shine. It looks really glossy. It looks really gorgeous on the lips, and it does last a fair amount of time. It's a lip gloss. It doesn't last all day, but it's a really, really nice looking and feeling lip gloss. So I'm keeping both of those. Something I was quite surprised about as well, and I remember someone messaging me a couple months ago saying, what do you think of Stila, the matte liquid lipsticks? Because they always get raved about and people always say amazing things about them. And my response was like, I just don't think they're that great. I feel like maybe I just originally tried a couple of bad shades that I think I previously decluttered, because these are actually really nice and I loved the nudes in particular. So I've got the shade Patina, which is more of a pinky mauvey nude, and this wore like a powerhouse. It wore all day, it looked gorgeous. I really like this. I'm totally keeping it. And the shade Sienna, even though this looks like a medium toned nude in the tube, on me, it definitely looks more deep and more like a dark berry brown sort of shade. This wore really, really well. And I am blown away by these two. I think they're really, really nice. The shade Rubino, I didn't love as much. It's just like a dark red. And again, it wore fairly well. Darker shades always wear worse than lighter shades, just simply because when they start to wear off, it looks more noticeable compared to your lip shade. So of course this one didn't wear as well, but I just need to figure out if I need this shade. It's very pretty. I've just compared the Jouer one to the Stila one. I feel like this is, again, a little bit darker than what I normally go for. I do prefer this shade, which I don't know if you can tell, but it's a little bit brighter, a little bit more vibrant on the lips. But I might keep this and just see if I need it at the end. So at the end of this project, I'm going to do a video where I swatch all the like colors and decide if I've got 5 of the shades like this. Do I need 5? Probably not. Let's just keep the best 1 or 2. So I'm going to keep this till the end because yeah, I was pleasantly surprised by the Stila formula, and the person that messaged me and asked me if I liked it, and I said, look, I think it's pretty average. I stand corrected. These particular shades, the 2 nudes in particular, are very, very good. So when I talk about these being very, very good, they do remind me a lot of some of my favorite shades from the Too Faced Melted Matte. So it's time to get into the melted mattes, and I've got a lot of them. I'll put the photo on the screen of me laying them all out so you can see all the shades that I have. I also have 2 double ups in some of the limited edition holiday shades. So I will talk about those when I get around to it. But I've got a lot of these, and I've got a lot of them because I really like them. Again, they're more of a traditional matte liquid lipstick formula. They do dry down that budge proof matte, so there's not much hydration to them, but they wear really, really well on me. I'm wearing one today because I love it. And generally they fade down looking really nice and wear well through food. Some shades don't. And again, I find it's the darker shades that don't wear well. The sort of mid-toned, nude, red, pink shades all wear really, really nicely on me. All right, let's just go through the shades. I've got 2 sugar cookie shades, and just looking at it now, they actually look a little bit different. So these are from limited edition holiday collections, and they're from different years. So they're the same shade, but you can tell that they're slightly different because the ring on this one is nude colored and this one's gold. So this is the old one, this is a new one. I feel like they're slightly different. The newer one is slightly deeper, but they, that could just be batch variation. I really like this shade. It's quite light for me, but I feel like it is a really nice light nude on me. So it's not concealer lip nude. It works and it wears really, really well. So I'm going to keep both of these. I might endeavor to pan my original sugar cookie because I know I can wear it fairly frequently, and I've got a backup. No, I held up the wrong one. This one. Yeah, so I'm going to keep both of these because it's a shade I really, really dig. Next, I want to talk about the shade Sellout, which If Sugar Cookie is slightly lighter than my lip tone, but sort of suits my lip tone, this is the same but slightly deeper. So it is slightly deeper than my normal lip tone, but the colors work really well with my natural lip colors. Now, I will have a photo when I just did all the swatches so you can see it freshly applied, but I did also do a wear test on this, and the photo on the screen, I think this was probably about 4 hours of wear. Now it does look kind of dry because it is a dry matte liquid lipstick, but you can see that it almost doesn't look like it's faded off at all, and this does wear really, really well. So again, I'm going to keep this, and it's going to sort of replace the fact that I had to get rid of Terra, which is a shame, and I've had this for way longer and it applies a lot better. So there we go. Queen Bee is one of the first ones I bought. I really love this. It's definitely more of a mauvey toned, cooler lip, but it's still not too grey that it looks unnatural. And hopefully you can see on the screen that after about, I think it's about 4.5 hours wear, even though it did fade down, because it doesn't clash with my lip tone, it fades down looking quite even and it doesn't look patchy. So it's a really easy one to wear. And I wore this under a mask for like 3 hours and that was the outcome. So I quite like it. Granny Panties is one that's probably too grey for me. I think I like it in theory, but it's not one I would really reach for. I would see myself reaching for Queen Bee over Granny Panties because in my head, I think this looks cool. When I look at it, I'm like, yeah, that's a cool colour. And when I swatch it, I'm like, yeah, what a great colour. But what I actually want on my lips is something like Queen Bee. So I am going to get rid of Granny Panties, even though I love having a big collection. It makes me happy. But I need to be realistic. Am I going to wear it? No. I'm going to talk about 4 sort of deeper shades at the same time. So I've got the shade Suck It, which is this beautiful sort of slightly berry toned shade. I've got a slightly deeper tone shade, which is called Wine Not. Then I have a dark red called Drop Dead Red, and I have Evil Twin, which is a really dark purple. Again, I sort of have the impression that sometimes I'm like, oh, a berry tone is good, and I pick up one of these and I realize it looks almost black on me. So I'm actually going to get rid of these 2 because they're just too dark. I'm not going to use them. And also I found Drop Dead Red to be quite messy. It was quite smeary, and I think because the undertone was very, very almost stainy red or stainy bright pink, that when I applied it and it smeared a bit, it started looking really messy and didn't look crisp. So I'm getting rid of those 2. When it comes to these 2, I really like Suck It. This is a kind of shade that I would happily wear on a daily basis. So it's probably as dark as I would go on a daily basis without feeling a little bit too vampy. This doesn't wear the best. It looks gorgeous on the lips and the tone really suits my coloring. So I really love it, but I did wear it, and this was probably, again, like 4.5 hours wear, and through lunch, it did start to wear off patchy, but if I put a lip gloss over the top and sort of pressed my lips together, this could sort of end up looking like a berry tint. So I'm definitely keeping this. It's just a matter of whether or not I keep Wine Not. It's a pretty color. It's more of a purple tone, slightly deeper than Suck It. Am I going to wear it? I quite like it, but I feel like it's too deep for me. Because I have gotten rid of the 2 darker shades, I might keep this for now, and then I'll see if it survives the swatch off at the very end of this project. But that one's sort of on the fence. All right, let's talk about one that I really love. Again, this is from a holiday collection. This is Hot Buttered Rum. I've got 2 of them because I love this. This is like my perfect orange toned nude. I love it in like autumn weather with sort of warmer toned goldy bronze eyeshadow. I really love this. And again, it wears really, really well. I've got 2 of them because I picked up one in a holiday pack and I was talking about how much I love it, and I was sent one from a beautiful subscriber. I might pan one and then just keep one in my collection, but that'll be something I do next year. So I'm going to keep both of those because it is like the perfect orangey toned nude, and I wish this was out in a full size. Also, something I didn't mention, these holiday minis all have different scents. So the originals aren't scented, but these holiday minis, they smell like the name. So this smells like Hot Buttered Rum, and they're kind of fun. I like the minis. The next shade is Pumpkin Spice. This is actually very similar to Hot Buttered Rum, but it's a little bit more red toned. Now, do I need this? Oh, I sort of want to keep it because it's the mini and it smells nice. So I actually will keep this because it's got more of a apricot tone. It's quite unique to what I think I have in my collection. And I'm actually going to leave that there for now. I do have more to talk about, but this took a lot longer than I expected. And I've got somewhere to be in 22 minutes, and I think it takes me 18 minutes to get there. So I will be back later to finish this off. My makeup might look a little bit more disheveled, but that's life. So I'll be back to talk about these. All right, I'm back to finish this video. This is about 4 hours after I just left. So you can tell that these wear pretty well. I've eaten, I've had something to drink. I've been out in the rain. I look a bit disheveled, but my lip product looks still pretty good. So I'm not even gonna touch it up. I'm just gonna leave it. So that's how these last. I like it, I'm a fan. All right, the next shade we're talking about is one from their last holiday collection. This is Hot Toddy. Now, I've never had a Hot Toddy, but if they taste like this, I don't want one. It smells like popcorn, sweet, musky, just a bit funky. It's a bit funky, but again, like the scent dissipates, so it's not that big a deal. So I said this shade is like a muted mid-toned plum. It's a bit of a mix between a nude, a berry. It's like a flattering autumn tone, but with like a hint of purple. So it's a shade that works with a lot of different makeup looks. It's quite flattering. It wears quite well, and it is, I think it's fairly unique to my collection. I'm not too sure. I'll find out in the swatch fest at the end. But this is also just from last year's holiday season, so it's very fresh and very nice, except for the scent. These next 3 holiday scents do get a little bit redundant. These are all in the sort of mid-toned, orangey, burnt reddy sort of vibe. Look, let's swatch them. This one's Caramel Apple. It definitely has an apple, like an artificial apple caramel scent, so it's pretty accurate. That's the shade there. I love, love, love Gingerbread Man. This is one that's like a recurring full-size holiday limited edition shade, but they've brought out multiple years. And this does have a sort of bit of a funky gingerbread scent, and this looks very similar. It's just a bit brighter. So again, this is a bit more vibrant with orange tones, so it looks a little bit more orange on the lips compared to Caramel Apple. And then this is Gingerbread Girl, which is a bit deeper. Now, I didn't actually do a wear test on Gingerbread Girl. I did do a wear test on Gingerbread Man, and it wears like a powerhouse. It's really good. It looks great at the end of the day. From memory, this darker shade doesn't wear as well. So it's just a matter of whether or not I like this enough to want to keep it. Out of the 3, my favorite is definitely Gingerbread Man. I think on me, I like a more vibrant lip, and it does wear really well. The other 2, they're very similar. One's slightly deeper. I could theoretically get rid of Gingerbread Girl. But because it's limited edition, I kind of want to keep it for now. I just like them. I want them. It is what it is. But I do think these 2 are something that I'm going to reach for more than this. But for now, I'm going to keep all 3. I know it's crazy and I don't need to and it's too much, but I sort of, look, chances are if they release a 3rd gingerbread, like Gingerbread Child or Gingerbread Dog or whatever it happens to be this year, I'd want to buy it and I'd sort of want to have the 3. So if I was being super strict, I would definitely get rid of Gingerbread Girl, but that might be on the chopping block down the track. For now, I'm going to keep them. All right, another one that's fairly difficult. You know how much I love reds. I've got the Holiday Collection Cinnamon Bear, and I've got the just mini permanent shade Lady Balls. Now, I have heard people say that these are dead-on dupes. Look, they're both reds, but they are different. Lady Balls is your true sort of cooler toned red. So it's quite vibrant on the lips. It's not a dark red, but it definitely has pinky tones to it. So if you want to find out if something's cool toned or warm toned, you just have a look at when you sort of spread it out. Does it look pink or does it look orange? If it looks orange, it's warm toned. If it looks pink, it's cool toned. And this is a cool toned red, but it's a nice vibrant red. Cinnamon Bear is also a cool toned red, and it's got a sweet scent to it. I wonder if that scent has changed because it doesn't smell like cinnamon. It smells a bit like caramel. So I wonder if that's changed, but this is darker. So I'm not too sure if you can see in the swatch, Lady Balls is brighter. This one's darker. So again, it's got the same tone. It's a cool toned red, but this one is a little bit more vampy. So I feel like you can have them both. The thing that I'm torn about, I don't have an issue keeping two reds because they're both tones that I do like to wear. And this is, to me, is more of a day one. That's more of a night one. It's just that I did a wear test on lady balls and I noticed that it transfers a lot more than I remember it transferring. So even though it lasts a long time, and I will have photos on the screen, you can see it's gorgeous. Like, this is me wearing it in front of my computer, so that's lit up by my computer screen. And then this is in sort of direct sunlight on a cloudy day in Melbourne in winter, so it's not too sunny, but you can see it's a really vibrant, beautiful, matte, flat red. The issue that I have with this is that it never fully set, and I feel like it's gone off a little bit because of that. Every other lipstick here dries quite touch dry. And if you're sipping on a drink, it doesn't smear and smudge. I found this one did smear and smudge a lot, and I actually got it a lot of places. Like, if I go to like pick something out of my teeth now and I'm like, oh, something's back here, I don't have lip product on my finger. It's actually set enough that it doesn't smudge and smear and move. Whereas this one did. I remember trying to get something out of my teeth and it was all over my hands. I remember if my baby, he's a toddler now, if he knocked me, he would get like red on the side of his face, whereas it doesn't happen with this like lip product. So I feel like this formula has gone off, but I love the shade. So because this is so beautiful and the shade is so gorgeous, there's part of me that wants to keep it, but I also know it's a really standard cool toned red liquid lipstick, and if it's going off and it's transferring, chances are I'm not going to wear it too much. So what I'll do is I'm going to get rid of this, which is sad because I love that shade. And then if I don't have something like it at the end of this project, I'll just repurchase it. But chances are I probably have about 14 similar things. So I'm going to get rid of that just because of the smear effect. Like it was quite messy. All right, let's get on to some bright colors. These are the last 4 that I'm going to be talking about. The one I'm wearing today is this beautiful one here called Hot Stuff. This is one of the more newer shades. I think this came out in 2020, I think. I would actually reach for this over Lady Balls anyway, so I probably don't need Lady Balls. If you can see here, it's just a much brighter version. Again, this has pink tones in it, but instead of it being really sort of like magenta pink tones, it's more coral tones. So I would call this like a really vibrant coral toned red. It's what I'm wearing. It looks really vibrant. It's got a slight pink tone to it, but it's not magenta pink. It is like a pinky red, bright shade, which I love. If you do like a cooler toned lip, you like those pinky tones, but you want something more vibrant than a traditional red, that's the sort of shade you go for. And this is what I'm more inclined to reach for anyway. And it's pretty fresh. I think this is less than a year old, so I'm keeping this. Another one that I'm keeping, even though it's sort of a little bit redundant, and I do think I have shades like this in my collection anyway. This is Candy Cane, so it's from the 2020 holiday collection, so it's fairly new. It does have a nice mint scent. I like this a lot more than those sort of caramelly fake scents. I think this is a lot more fresh, and it doesn't provide a tingle or a sting to the lip. So it's not like the peppermint oil that designs to like plump your lips and it creates a tingle. This is just like you've just brushed your teeth kind of, or had a breath mint or something. It's quite fresh and it's quite nice. I really like it. It's like an after dinner mint sort of mint scent. This is more of a pink. So compared to what I'm wearing, it's more pink. I didn't do a wear test on this, but I do figure it wears in a similar way as the one I'm wearing, which I actually wore 3 times. So clearly it's one of my favorite shades. This shade, okay, the thing that I like most about it is probably the scent. The color itself is a nice dark pink. I call this lipstick pink. Like if someone said to me, I bought a handbag in the shade lipstick, this is the sort of shade that I think of. It's quite a vintage pink, and traditionally this sort of pink was an alternative to a red. So it is a very sort of classic color, like a lipstick pink. It's nice, but it's quite generic. So yeah, it's not a unique shade, but it is different from the ones I currently have here. So I'll keep it for now, and I like the scent and it's nice and fresh. All right, I've been umming and ahhing about these 2 shades. So I've got the shade Jawbreaker, which is this really interesting purple shade, almost pastel purpley pink shade. This actually applied really nice and opaquely. I was quite surprised. These shades are usually quite sheer and patchy, but this applied really nicely. Realistically though, I do want to keep this because I like the color and I think it's cool, but I'm not going to wear it. You know, I can try to justify it by something that I'd mix, something that I'd this. I'm not going to wear it, even though I do like the formula of this and I think it's a nice opacity for this color. I don't need it. When it comes to the shade Who's Zoomin' Who, which is the last product I'm going to talk about here, this is like a really dark, sort of like French navy sort of blue. I did actually wear this as an eyeliner and it works really nicely as an eyeliner. It's nice and opaque. It applied quite thinly. It didn't go crumbly or dry. And as a lip product, okay, it did start to go patchy after eating, but this is one of those lip products that you can wear for like, say like 3 or 4 hours comfortably, looking really bold and actually looking quite striking. And then, you know, once you eat, it's going to go to crap. So it's a temporary, like a short-term lip product, but a statement lip. And I kind of like it. And I can always, you know, justify using it as a eyeliner. So I might hold on to this until the end of the project. If I decide I never want to reach for a blue liquid lipstick, then I can get rid of it then. But there's something about the shade that I do secretly have a little soft spot for. All right, so I'm only getting rid of 5 of those shades, which is really not much. But to be fair, when I went into this, I thought I was going to get rid of none. So 5 is better than nothing. But I always knew decluttering this particular formula will be really hard for me because it's one of my favorite formulas. So decluttering 5, I think, is better than I actually expected going into this. But it does mean that overall I kept a lot more than I decluttered this month. So the totals this month, I kept 29 lip products and I'm getting rid of 14. So usually I like the split to be at least 50-50, maybe decluttering more than I am keeping. But like I just said, this month I knew was going to be particularly hard just because it contained a large range of lip products that I really, really do love. I'm just happy that there were things like the Jouer ones were drying out, so they were sort of easy to get rid of because I was really worried that I was going to get rid of like 2 lip products this month and keep 40, whereas 14 is better than nothing. And again, I probably kept a lot of these liquid lipsticks because they're limited edition and they're fun and they've got the scent and whatnot. Like, do I need this one? Probably not, but I'd prefer to keep minis that are limited edition, I can no longer get, they bring me some joy, rather than keeping things that are permanent and if I really wanted to, I can replace down the track and buy a fresher one. So I'd prefer to keep a little bit more than get rid of and regret, if that makes sense. Because the cull wasn't great this month, what I'm actually planning on focusing on in August is going to be indie makeup. Now, I was actually looking through my indie makeup lip product drawer because my acrylic organizer, I sort of split with different months that I've sort of pre-prepared the themes. There are a lot of lip products there that I either don't love the colors of or I don't really love the formula. So next check-in, I do think I'll get rid of a lot more than I will keep. So it will sort of even out this month, if that makes sense. All right, so that's me wrapping up my July check-in. I'll have all the products listed in the description box and I'll see you guys in the next one. Bye.